So, hello everyone, and I hope everyone is well during this very stressful time. I'm getting cabin fever, but I'm dealing with it, finding things to do. Okay, so someone asked an excellent question. So, I want to just go over this problem here, and there's basically three ways to solve this problem. And here it goes. Suppose this is from your textbook, right? Suppose we plan to save $1,000 today. Now you'll notice that's today, right? Right now, it isn't like a year from now, and $1,000 at the end of the next 2 years. Okay, so here's 1,000 at the end of the first year. Okay, and you notice the word each, right? And then $1,000 at this year. So you put 1,000 in the beginning of the year, and then you put $1,000 in at the end of the year, right? So you notice this is the today, and then you put $1,000 in at the end of the second year. Okay, so the question is, how much are you going to have in the future? And like I said, there's three ways to look at this. So let's go through this slowly. So basically, the first thing is the $1,000 today. You've got to basically get the at 10% what that is a year from now. Okay, so this is the first way. So 10% of that gives you $1,100. So now after a year, you've got $2,100 in the bank. The $1,000 you deposited plus the growth on this 1,000, right? So that's $2,100. And then you have $1,000 at the second year, and the question is, how much do you have at the third year? So you now take this 2,100 and do a 10% and bring this to the future again. So this becomes 2,310 plus 1,000 that you deposited, and you now have 3,310, right? And so by the end of the third year, you get another 10%, and you get 3,641. Okay, that's the first way. Another approach is to do each one individually, right? Look, you do this for 3 years, 1, 2, 3. You do this for 2 years, and you do this for 1 year. And you add them up, and it comes again out to 3,641. Now, there's a third way. Let me get to the third way. And here's the third way. The third way, here's the cash flows again, right? And you see it says, let's solve it in a different way than we did earlier. So we know the present value of this. Now we take the present value of that, and we take the present value of that for 2 years, right? And then we add them up, and then we take this and go. Sorry about that. And then we go for 3 years into the future, and for the third way, we get the same answer, okay? So we can do that, and we got to do a couple extra steps in Excel here because we don't, because we have a bunch of present values here. So anyway, so that's all you have to do for that. Another way to approach this problem is to say to yourself, well, if money goes in at the beginning of year one, the end of year one is the beginning of year two, and the end of year two is the beginning of year three. So I'm going to treat this as an annuity due in Excel. 10%, 3 periods, $1,000, and you notice I put a 1 for the beginning of the period there, right? And clearly it tells me I'm going to have 3,641 in the future if I use the future value function. So this is another way of solving this. If you can just clearly see an end of 1 year is the beginning of the next, as they show in the graph here on in your book. Let me go back there for a minute. So like look right here, right? So this is the beginning of the year. Now, even though this is the end of year one, this is the beginning of year two also. Even though this is the end of year two, it's the end of year one. It's the beginning of, I'm sorry, end of year two. It's the beginning of year 2. Okay, so this is the beginning of year 1. This is the end of year 1, which is the beginning of year 2, and this is the end of year 2, which is the beginning of year 3, right? So, and anyway, so they're all 3 beginnings, and you see clearly it tells you that treating it as an annuity due here in Excel will give you that answer. And let me open that again so you can see that. All right, 3641. All righty, I hope everyone was clear. Be safe, everybody.